Hello and welcome to the Millionaire Mompreneur podcast, where we empower mompreneurs to build wealth, grow thriving businesses, and reclaim their time. I'm your host, Alexa Starks. I'm a tech expert, a ChatGPT master, and a mama to two little ones under 2. And I'm here to guide you through the ups, the downs, and everything in between of running a business while raising a family. Each week, we'll dive into topics like making money, scaling your business, and embracing a millionaire mindset. So grab a coffee or reheat the one that you forgot, and let's get started on building the life that you deserve. Hello, and welcome to this next episode of the Millionaire Mompreneur podcast. I'm Alexa Starks. Today, I have with me this amazing guest named Katy. She is an amazing coach who helps moms heal their relationship with food and break out of diet culture and foster a better body positive image. Katy, welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you with us today. And I would love to have you share a little bit of your story, your background, how you got to doing what you do now, and a little bit about how you help moms and, of course, your babies, your kids.
Yeah, of course. We can chat about all the things. So, I guess I'll kind of start at the beginning of my career as a dietitian. I initially thought that I was going to go into the oncology world. I really had this interest in cancer. And in grad school, I was lucky enough to be part of a breast cancer research group. And when people think cancer, a lot of times they think the, poor, nauseous, emaciated person on chemo and losing their hair and all that. The population I was working with was breast cancer prevention. So people we knew who were at high risk because of family history or personal history, and then survivorship. So it was like the before and after of treatment and not during. And what's really interesting is it's almost the opposite of what you think with like, oh my gosh, we have to help these people eat. The concern was actually the way that like weight gain, especially going through breast cancer treatment, the thought was that weight gain was increasing their risk of recurrence. So basically, we were putting these women on a diet thinking, okay, we're going to like prevent their cancer from coming back. So I'm helping to run these diet and weight loss studies with these women. And what we're seeing is kind of predictable. Like they lose weight when they follow the program.
Right.
And then what we saw is that when they stopped the program, they regained the weight, which I didn't comprehend yet, but this is the norm with dieting. And that was kind of my entry point into like, oh, so dieting only works temporarily.
Yeah.
And as part of these studies, we were tracking their body composition. And so what we would watch happen is they would lose weight, and along with weight loss, you lose muscle mass. I mean, it's kind of inevitable. You'll lose some degree of muscle mass. And they would regain it almost all as body fat, which again is pretty typical of any of us who diet. That's how the cycle goes. So in the end, by the time we were done with these people, they were actually worse off than before we started.
Wow, how interesting.
This is bananas. We can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
And now we've further wrecked their body image. They're feeling so terrible about themselves. A lot of them had, mastectomies. And so they're feeling at odds with their body in so many ways. And now this is like further complicating their relationship with food. Got more interested in the psychology side of things and was realizing diets don't work. And so I proposed that, well, what if we did a study on like mindful eating and intuitive eating? And that was just shot down. And so
that's not the medical field.
I started my exit strategy. So I stumbled into this world of intuitive eating, which overlaps with as far as dietitians and how we kind of get training in that, the field of eating disorders. And so now I'm in this field of eating disorders, starting to understand just like the depths of people's relationship with food. And, the way that this cuts to our core and to our soul. And it was like, this is where I'm meant to be. This is what I'm meant to be doing. And it's kind of evolved from there, where I wanted to be able to help people in a capacity beyond just one-to-one sessions in my office, in my private practice. And I started creating online trainings and programs, not focusing on eating disorders per se, but just focusing more on that message to women about our
Mhm.
bodies, about our worthiness, about our relationship with food. I developed this interest in helping people with their relationship with food. And that's how my business has really grown from here to be able to help women across the world with this.
This is so amazing. I mean, so I'm in the middle of I still postpartum, right? 6.5 months postpartum is still in the thick of it. And I know there's this whole mentality of when you're pregnant, how much weight have you gained, right? And are you eating right? And you don't want to get gestational diabetes. And, you have to monitor how much you're eating, but you also need to eat more. And then as soon as you have the baby, you want to lose the baby weight. But if you're breastfeeding, you have this insatiable hunger that
Right.
you
Yeah.
now are like, wait, I also have to eat even more to maintain a milk supply? That contradicts the fact that I want to lose weight so that
It
I
is,
can get
and
my
it's so
body
many mixed
back.
messages because it's like
Yeah.
pregnancy itself is one of the only times of our lives as women where we're kind of sort of allowed to gain weight. But the messaging
Yeah.
has really become like, well, you can gain weight, but don't gain too much weight. And you need to be
Exactly.
like careful about it.
Mhm.
And then, yeah, like the second that baby exits your womb, like you got to get that
Yeah.
baby weight off. But to your point, and then there's that push and that pressure around
Mhm.
breastfeeding, which is its own kind of beast
Ugh,
of
yeah.
shame and all of that. And part of the pressure around breastfeeding is, well, it's going to help you lose the baby weight. But then also,
It doesn't.
enough to support breastfeeding. And like you said, you're ravenous. I have never been so hungry in my
I know.
when I was breastfeeding.
It was ridiculous, and I'd be up all night because my
Right.
daughter was up eating, like, every hour, hour and a half, 2 hours a night, so I'd just be eating there with her while she was eating, and so it was just it's so much, and some women everyone's different, right? But some women lose weight with breastfeeding, and that's phenomenal for them. I didn't. With both my children, I did not lose the weight. And now, even 6.5 months postpartum, we stopped breastfeeding and switched to formula a couple months ago. And I still have not gotten back to pre 2 babies ago weight. And I never will. And part of that is I'm just wider. Like my body is
Oh, your
physically
body is literally
wider, and I'm never going to be that same size again, but there's that mentality of I want to get back to my pre-baby weight. And
yeah,
that's hard.
it
It's a
is
lot.
hard. Yeah, and I think it sometimes feels like we're not trying hard enough or that we're doing something wrong if we haven't gotten back there. And
Mhm.
and then there's of course all of these things that we see online where it's kind of preying on that insecurity of like, well,
Yeah.
mom, I'm going to help you get rid of that, like your belly pooch, and I'm going to help you,
Yes.
with these mommy workouts and stuff, and
Mhm.
playing into that.
Yeah. Oops, I need to go rescue my baby. Give me just a moment. Sorry, sometimes going up and down my stairs, I get really winded.
You're like, I just need a minute. Yeah.
Okay. Baby girl's down. Hopefully she falls asleep soon. Okay. Where were we? We were talking about body
um,
and
like the pressure on women, like postpartum, all that. Yep.
yeah, it's so crazy. And I work out really hard. And that's something that my husband and I both do. We love working out. And it's always been it's not for a weight loss thing, but for like a strength thing. As I've gotten older, it's more just strength. And so I've always been more muscular and thicker rather than thin and slender. And that, you just having that body type and then gaining more weight during pregnancy and then never going back to your pre-body weight, and then you see all these other moms on social media and their cute outfits and losing all this body weight so quickly, and now they're back to their pre-baby size. It's hard, the pressure of seeing and comparing, and we do have that mentality. Comparing, it just happens, on social media if you're on it all day, and it's really sad and really hard to
It is. And there's
have that.
literal research that shows that the more time we spend on social media, the more we are comparing ourselves to others and the worse that our body image gets.
Yeah, that's crazy. So tell me some of the things that you help women with then in your coaching practice that you do now.
Yeah, so it there's sort of different pillars to it. So part of it is ditching dieting. So I do a
Mm.
lot of helping people to understand the pitfalls of dieting and just biologically and psychologically why it does not work.
Hmm.
It's a temporary fix. And what happens is what we know about dieting is that you can lose weight and it doesn't really matter what diet you follow. Like some people do better with one or the other, but for the
Hmm.
most part, like you could do the cookie diet or the keto diet or intermittent fasting or
Right.
whatever. Like you'll lose weight, but there's about a 95% chance that within 2 to 5 years, you will have regained it.
Mm.
And for two-thirds of those people, you will regain more than you lost.
Oh,
So
whoa.
the ultimate end result of dieting for most individuals is that you will weigh more than you did when you started. And if you've done that a dozen or more times,
Right.
ratchets up and up and up over
Oh, that's
time.
so crazy.
Yeah, it's bonkers. And we never hear that. Nobody's
Yeah.
telling us that. It feels like it's our own personal failure if we didn't stick with it because it looked like it
Hmm.
was working in the beginning.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I do a lot of helping people to understand that it is not that they failed,
Hmm.
it's that the strategy was never going to work long term in the first place.
Ah.
And that if they keep doing that, it's probably going to keep driving their weight up and
Hmm.
making them feel bonkers with food. And what we want to do is step off of that roller coaster ride. And
Hmm.
the alternative then, because then it's like, well, if I'm not dieting, like, what do I do? Because people will come to me and they're like, I know a lot I could tell you the calorie count on any food or how many Weight Watchers points it has, but I don't know how to eat normally anymore.
Right. Right.
So confused. So we start with what does normal eating look like and how do you listen to your body?
Hmm.
And that's why I bring in the principles of this concept called intuitive eating. And
Mm.
it's well researched. It was developed by two dietitians.
Hmm.
If anybody's curious about it, there's a book called Intuitive Eating.
Oh,
That's where
cool.
the concept originates from. Because it's gotten a little bit trendy on social media. And so I think people just hear it and they kind of think they know what it means, but they don't know the backstory and
Hmm.
where it comes from and what it actually entails. So I would start with the book so you
Okay.
understand what you're getting yourself
Right.
into. And I teach people how to take these principles, is what they call them. There's 10 principles of intuitive eating, and to put them into practice in their everyday life. And so some of it's mental,
Mm.
like making peace with food and not having all these rules about food and these lists of food that you're allowed to eat and that you're not allowed to
Right.
eat, and being able to actually listen to your body in terms of what you're hungry for, and then also your hunger and your fullness, and to know what makes your body feel good and function
Hmm.
well. So sometimes people will take this idea of intuitive eating and run with it, and they'll be like, "Oh, okay, great. So I'm not going to diet anymore. I'm just going to eat whatever I want whenever I want." And I'm
Uh-huh.
always like, "Okay, time out. That is not intuitive eating. That is impulsive eating. It is not what we're aiming for."
That's
So we
funny.
want to it's about slowing down and
Uh-huh.
listening to your body. So I do a lot of that. Like, how do you listen to your body
Hmm.
and structure your eating in a way that supports what your body needs? And
Hmm.
it's about providing your body with the fuel and the nourishment, but
Hmm.
also the pleasure and the enjoyment of food. And
Hmm.
I think as moms, that's so important
Yeah.
because we also want to model that for our kids.
Oh,
And we want
absolutely.
to raise our kids to have a healthy relationship with food, because
Hmm.
the cold hard truth is that for a lot of us, the reason we've been on this dieting roller coaster for so long is that that was passed down to us from our mom, who maybe got it from her mom. And it's like this
Right.
generational
Right.
thing that women do.
Hmm.
And it's such a beautiful gift to your kids if you can break that generational cycle.
Absolutely.
So there's like the food piece of things that I help people with. And then we do a lot of work on the body image side of things, because
Mm.
usually body image and that desire for weight loss to feel
Hmm.
healthier or better about yourself or more confident, that's what's driving the food and the dieting issues in the first place.
Right.
So Like, we can't have a conversation about food without also talking about body image.
Right. Oh, so many good things. Okay, before my mom brain goes off in too many different tangents, I just want to touch on um I love this idea of intuitive eating and sort of you can eat what you want and fuel your body. Like you don't have to limit yourself necessarily, but eat mindfully, right? Like my husband and I, we don't do diets or anything. We eat balanced meals, right? We eat, and when we do eat carbs, which we do every night, it's healthy carbs, right? We use chickpea pasta or um, Target has this brand called Goodles. It's like half whole wheat, half chickpea, and some other protein packed pastas. And so we do that and a protein and a veggie. And so we're never like dieting and having like a no carb dinner. It's just very balanced. And then if I want to have dessert after, because I do have a wicked sweet tooth, I just have a little bit, a balanced amount. And I'm not like shoveling ice cream and cookies like I did in my pregnancy. But it's all
Yeah.
about
And that's the
balance.
thing, it's like if you were telling yourself, "I can never have dessert or
Oh my
no
God.
carbs,"
That'd be
what do you
terrible.
think you're gonna start obsessing about and craving
I'm gonna
incessantly? And
start
then when you
dreaming about
finally
them.
give in, you're gonna eat all of it that you can find, you know?
Yes, yes. And I love this also for kids. And I know toddler phases are difficult. Right now, my son is right in the middle of like, he's obsessed with cheese and Cheez Its and goldfish, but he loves fruit. Almost every fruit he loves, and so we'll just load up the fruit, oranges, strawberries, blueberries, all these fruits. And then, like, that's okay if you want some Cheez Its, it's not the end of the world. And eventually, as he gets older, we can he'll eat more with us. And when he was younger, actually, at like 1.5. He was a great eater. He'd eat what we ate, but
I know, I think that
ugh,
throws parents for a loop because it's like a lot of times kids start out willing to eat anything, like, "Oh my
yes.
gosh, my kid will eat
I
everything."
know, that was me.
And then they get more picky and you're like, "Oh, no."
Ugh. Now it's like if it's not Cheez-Its at dinner, he starts to cry and throw a fit,
Yep.
and I love him, but, like, I
Yeah.
always have to have goldfish or something in my purse because if we go somewhere, it's like that will soothe him.
I know, and it's that thing where I feel like before you become a parent, you're just like, "I would never do that,"
I
and then you have a
know,
kid and you're
I
like,
know.
"Oh, no."
Ooh,
I'm doing all the things I swore I would never do because it's about
yes.
survival.
Yes, it's all survival mode for sure. So much of the time, even when we're out, or like I was like, oh, my kids are never going to watch TV. Now it's like, oh, you want to watch Miss Rachel on repeat for 30 minutes so I can do something like clean the dishes or make dinner? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Go for it. Yep, have that
Yeah.
screen time.
But I love this idea of, you eating balanced and well so that you can show your kids that, and you can teach
Yeah, so
them.
much of it is yeah, just modeling it for them and even just exposing them to those foods because sometimes kids need to be exposed to a food like 20 times before
Yeah.
they'll actually eat it. They might need to see it on the table or see you eating it, or maybe
Yeah.
at some point they'll touch it or they might put it up to their lips and then spit it back out.
Hmm.
That's all exposure. That's
Yep.
how they get comfortable and learn to like new foods.
Yeah, absolutely. I know if my son sees me eating it 9 times out of 10, he'll try it after me.
Uh-huh, yeah. Or they want it off your plate, or if you can
Yep.
get them in the kitchen, sometimes, like, if they, quote, unquote, "helped," they'll be more
Yeah.
willing to try something. So it's that thing of, like, how do we create positive food experiences within our family so that food isn't stressful and this battle zone with your kids and for you personally,
Yep.
and everybody's eating a different thing because everybody's, like,
Oh,
mom's on a diet, dad's doing this,
yeah.
kids are picky eaters, and it's like there's not enough hours in the day for you to
Mm-mm.
cook for everybody.
Yeah. Okay, let's touch on that really quickly because I wrote that down. 2 things. 1, what about the moms who have very limited time to cook full meals, right? And maybe they work long hours and then they pick up their kids and then they've got very limited time to cook a full meal, cook something, right? They either got to pick up something or it's fast food or um and then with that, there's women and families who don't have a lot of money. They can't go get organic groceries. They can't go buy groceries and veggies and fruits that go bad in like a day and a half, like raspberries. And so they end up buying cheaper, unhealthier food that they eat. And it's usually quick to make too, so how do we balance
I
the
love
lack
this
of
question.
time and the lack
It's
of
also like, I
affordability?
think we have this sort of idyllic idea of how we're supposed to feed ourselves and our families.
Mhm.
And then there's most people's reality. And so people are often surprised to hear me as a dietitian say, like, I don't buy organic. I
Mhm.
don't even like cooking. So for me, it's like, how do I get in and out of the kitchen
Yeah.
in as little time as possible? And as a business owner and a working mom, like I'm working right up until I need to drop everything and go grab my kids. And when
Mhm.
they get home, chaos ensues. And so
Yes.
I'm trying to wrangle them, get food on the table. And it's hard. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
not going to lie, it's really hard. I think the thing that for our family works the best is that we take a look at the upcoming week's schedule and we kind of go, okay, what do we have going on?
Mhm.
What nights do we have time to cook? What nights do we not? And it needs to be something that is either kind of pre-made or leftovers or something like turkey sandwiches. What nights might we have something going on where we know that we're going to be out and that we're like having dinner with somebody, or
Right.
that it's just the plan is that we're going to go grab Happy Meals from McDonald's.
Mhm.
And so it's just kind of understanding what's coming and what to expect and then strategizing. And so sometimes what we'll do on the weekends is like if my husband's grilling, we grill a lot on Sundays
Mm.
because we have time and
Right.
he's around to be able to do it. So he might be grilling burgers and I'm
Mhm.
like, I need to throw some chicken on there too and cook it ahead so that that's already cooked
Nice.
and I can use it for another meal later in the
Mhm.
week. So I take all these shortcuts that I can to make it quick and easy. And I'm not afraid to use canned fruit cocktail or canned green
Mm.
beans. Um, it doesn't have to be like, oh, I roasted this beautiful array of
Yeah.
multicolored vegetables and
Kale
all
and
of
spinach
that.
and
Because that the other thing is half the time the kids aren't even gonna eat it anyway. So, it's like, don't be afraid to do what's inexpensive and
Mhm.
affordable, what you have time for, and there's plenty of ways to get those nutrients into your body. Like, if you're serving a variety of food groups
Mhm.
that are giving your body and your kids' bodies carbohydrates, proteins, fats, fiber,
Mhm.
gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And so it's I think the moral of the story is like don't overcomplicate it. Like plan realistically
Mhm.
and having a plan ahead of time, I think is the game changer.
Mm.
Whatever the plan is. And the plan could be if you feel compelled to make this really nice, delicious meal and you want to go buy all the organic ingredients, like more power to you. Go for it.
Right, right.
That can be the plan. Also, going through the drive-through can be the plan. There doesn't
Mhm.
have to be right or wrong. And my biggest piece of advice to people nutritionally is just variety. Make sure that over time, the grand scheme of things, you're getting variety, you're offering your kids variety, and we don't need to worry as much about the minutia of it as we might be led to believe.
Right. No, I love that. And like kind of what you touch on, it's about balance. Some days we're having fast food for dinner. Some days we're having the chicken that we cooked ahead of time for the week, right? And it's got veggies and they ate well. And then maybe the next day, maybe not as good, but it balances out.
Right. If we can think about nutrition more as like a bigger picture, like think of it over the course of a week or a couple
Right.
of weeks, because it's not like your body resets at midnight every day. Or the clock starts over.
Yeah.
That's not how your body's nutritional needs work. And with kids in particular, they will often do this really kind of lopsided way of eating that like one
Hmm.
day they might only want to eat the carbs, their mac and
Right.
cheese or their goldfish or whatever. And you're sitting there like, I really wish you'd eat a vegetable or some protein. And then there might be another day where they chow down on their meat and they don't touch any
Hmm.
of the other food on their group. Or sometimes my kids will inhale an entire container of raspberries in one sitting
Yeah.
and nothing else. And so what happens though, they've done studies on this where if you track a young child's food intake over the course of time, it evens out over about 2 weeks.
Oh,
So it's like we have to kind of trust them and their little
yeah.
bodies that within, the structure of what we're
Right.
offering as far as food variety and nutrition, that within that, they're
Hmm.
gonna get what they need.
That's so good. I love that. And then I was talking with another mom who mentioned a crock pot, and I don't use a crock pot. I think we have one in storage, but I've never attempted it. But I know that is a good way to,
I
like,
love it. It's the
set
best thing
something in the
because yeah, at
morning.
the end of the day, you're
Yeah.
like, dinner's already ready.
Yep.
You don't even have to do anything else.
Yep.
It's a beautiful thing.
Because I
And the
cooked
other pro
dinner.
tip, get the liners, the disposable liners for the crock pot so you don't even have to wash
Oh.
it.
Ooh, I'm literally writing that down now. Dispose. Because I love cleaning, but not that much. Like, not.
No, it's right by the time you're done with dinner, and if you have young kids especially, it's like, okay, now we need to get them like bathed in their pajamas,
Yep.
ready for bed. And at what point are you supposed to do the dishes or tidy
Yeah.
up or heck, sit down?
Yep. Yeah, my husband and I, we feed our kids, or my son at and my daughter, we feed them at like 5:36, and then my
Yep.
son needs a bath, my daughter needs a bath, and then we put them to bed at 7, and then I'll eat dinner. Then we eat dinner. And it's like
Yeah.
then after that there's a bunch of dishes by 8 to do,
Which
you
is
know.
exactly what you want to do at
Yeah.
8 p.m.,
And I'm like,
right?
I'm tired. I don't want to clean. And I didn't want to cook at 7. I think I cooked. My husband's phenomenal. He cooks so much of the time, which is amazing. And I cooked 2
Yes,
nights
shout out
ago.
to the husbands who cook.
I know. I know. Oh, so
Like I said,
amazing.
I don't enjoy it, and my husband actually does, but most of the time, just with his work schedule, I'm the one home
Uh
at
huh.
that time of day. So it's on the weekends. I'm like, and you're going to cook this and this.
You're like, here's my idea for this. And yeah,
Yeah,
he
here's
cooks.
my list of things that I would like for you to prepare ahead of time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He loves to cook and he does really well. Now, I love to cook too. I love to cook, but I don't have the energy, right? I'm
Uh-huh.
working all day. My daughter's home with me all day. And then we pick up my son from daycare and I've got no energy. I'm up early in the morning. And so I don't enjoy or have the energy to cook in the evenings. But so crock pots, I do want to get more into that because that's just a set it and
Yeah.
forget it. And it's done by the end of the night. And then disposable liners, it's like, I don't
I
even have to
also have
clean.
come to I was really resistant to it at first, but I have come to love the air fryer
I
because
love our air fryer. Yes, I love
yeah.
it. It is
One
so
thing I
good.
never figured out was my Instapot.
Mm,
My
I don't have
mother-in-law
that either.
gave us one for Christmas one year, and I tried using it, and I just didn't get it, but some people rave about that, so,
Oh, I
there's
don't have that
their
one.
way to do things if you know how to operate it, which I don't.
That's so funny. All right, well, Katie, um, let's wrap up with, can you share some of your top expert advice or tips for mompreneurs who are maybe struggling with body image or trying to get their body back postpartum and juggling trying to run a business? So they're very limited on time, but they're trying to work on themselves and their body physically.
I love this question, yeah, because I also love entrepreneurship. Here's a thing that I see happening a lot: the body shame
Hmm.
holding women back from showing up fully in their business. They don't
Ooh,
want to
so
get
good.
on and be visible. They don't want
Hmm.
to do videos. They don't want to do reels. They don't want to speak at conferences. It's like it's that thing we do where we say, "Well, I'll do that when I lose the weight."
Yes.
I'll start making YouTube videos or I'll
Hmm.
start doing Instagram reels or TikTok when I lose the weight. Or same thing of like, if someone wants to apply for a new job,
Right.
when I lose the weight, or I'll start dating when I lose the weight.
Yeah.
Start living your life right now. Show up in your business, own who you are, and don't let those body insecurities hold you back because you're holding yourself back from growing your business. And there is room in this world for people of all body types.
I
So
love
that's a
this.
big one. I see that so much. And I think sometimes people don't even fully
Uh-huh.
realizing that they're hiding
Yeah.
and that they're doing that and that it's because of their body image. It's like they haven't fully consciously connected those dots.
Hmm. That's amazing. I love that.
So that's a big one. And then on the food front, I would say being able to let go of dieting and all of the rules is also so freeing because it frees up this mental space in your brain. What happens when we're dieting is your brain actually perceives this as a threat of starvation
Mm.
because your brain doesn't understand that you're trying to eat less than what your body needs to lose weight. Your body thinks there must
Um,
not be enough food available. So what it's going to do is have you thinking about food more.
Uh-huh.
So now you've got this like 24/7 food noise going on in the back of your mind, and it's kind of distracting, you
Yeah.
know?
It's just a
And
bad negative feedback loop.
it is, absolutely. And so, like, if we can clear that clutter
Mhm.
out, now you've got brain capacity to be more creative
Mm,
and to, um, show up more fully in your business in that way and to be able to live your life more fully. It's not like, oh, I can't meet you for coffee or for brunch because I'm
right.
fasting and that's not in my eating window. And so when you're not dieting and when food is not this big issue in your life, it's going to allow you to be a better mom, to be a better
Mhm.
partner, a better friend, to be a better business owner.
I love this. I love this. This is so amazing. Thank you, Katie. What
Of
amazing
course. I can talk
advice.
about this stuff all day long. So
Well, speaking of, where can listeners find you?
yeah. So, obviously, if you're listening to this podcast, you enjoy podcasts. So come check out mine. It's called Rebuilding Trust with Your Body. It's
Ooh.
got over 150 episodes at this point. So if you just kind of scroll through and
Mhm.
see what topics jump out at you or resonate with you, you can dive in there and start to get a feel for things. And then, of course, feel free to reach out to me. My DMs are always open on social
Mhm.
media. Instagram is where I'm pretty active.
I love that. And then we will link to your podcast and your Instagram as well in the description. So if you are interested in that, it is in the description as well. And then Katie, I believe you had told me you have a training guide for moms who want to start their journey towards intuitive eating. Is that right?
Yeah, so I have this guide I put together. It's called 5 Simple Steps to Reconnecting with Your Hunger Fullness because people
Mm.
are like, okay, I like this idea of intuitive eating. Where do I begin? The first step is to start reconnecting with your body. And so
Oh.
I've got this guide where it outlines exactly how to do that. And
Mhm.
then it links to a bunch of other resources that are going to like keep you moving forward in that direction. And so if you go to the URL nondietacademy.com forward
Mhm.
slash hunger, you can get it there. And we can also just put that in the show notes. I can send you that link.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll put that in the description as well. So if you are interested, please look in the description. But that's it for today. Katie, thank you so much for being on the show today. I love talking with you about all of this.
Same
And
here. I love being able to have these conversations with other women who it's like you're right there in the trenches of motherhood and business ownership and all the things. And so it's fun to be able to have these conversations where it's like, oh my gosh, yes, me too. I get it. I'm going through the same thing, or I've been there,
yes.
done that.
Yep, absolutely. It's amazing connecting with other moms who just have the same experiences.
For sure.
Awesome, Katie. Well, thank you so much. And don't forget to tune in for more episodes and like and subscribe. We will see you guys on the next episode.